Hello everybody, welcome to the JavaScript course. In this video, I'm going to discuss exception handling. So the first part of the video is to explain the meaning of an exception. And then I'm going to show you a simple try-catch block. After that, I'm going to show you the way to throw and catch an exception object. Also, we are able to rethrow error object to the outer try-catch block. I will demonstrate it to you. The final part of the video is to demonstrate a simple try-catch finally block. Now let us see the HTML file first. The HTML file is rather simple. I have a title here and a heading. And this HTML file is linked to a JavaScript file called myscript.js, which is stored in a JS folder. Now let us go to the JavaScript file. In order for me to use the strict mode, I have to say use strict on the first line of the JavaScript file. After that, I'm going to discuss the meaning of an exception. So what is the meaning of an exception? Exceptions are caused by runtime errors. That means they are not syntax errors. Or exceptions can occur due to the server response failures, or invalid user input, and even more. So we don't want the program to stop when this kind of exception occurs. We would expect some possible exceptions and handle them before they happen. So we try to foresee what will happen in the runtime errors so that we can try to avoid those errors to crash our system. That's why we have to do exception handling. So the basic approach to do the exception handling is do the try-catch block. Now I'm trying to show you one such block. So for example, if we want to call a non-existent function, we will have runtime error. So what does it mean by that? We can see the following example. Suppose I want to execute my undefined function, but you can see that I have never defined it beforehand. So if we want to execute such a function, which is non-existent, we would have some kind of error coming out. And that kind of error can stop our system from doing further things. So if this kind of error happens, the program will be stuck at this position, which we don't want to. We hope the program to handle properly with this kind of exception. So the idea is to really catch the error coming from this kind of exception. The gist is here. We want to catch the error arising from the runtime error shown here, and the error is generally called some error, for instance. And then if we have such an error coming out from the runtime error, we have to handle it according to these rules. So if we really catch such an error, we show an alert window saying that nothing is done. And actually, this some error variable is actually storing the error called reference error, which is a type of error due to the non-existent function. So we can actually show more detail of this reference error. So we can show the name of this error, which is the reference error. We can show some message arising from this reference error. And we can also see the stack of this error. So we can see the origin of the error. We will be able to see that, oh, this file is really making the program stop at this stage. So let me try to run it. So you can see that nothing is done, which is the content of the first alert window after catching the error due to the non-existent function. And you can see that this error is called reference error. So I just print out the name of this error. And the message here is just saying that, oh, my so-called function is not defined. So that is the message coming from the reference error. And we can see the stack. So we can see that, oh, line 14, column 5 is the source of the runtime error. So it just says that, oh, this function is going to stop our program from going further. Okay, that is the basic idea of the try-catch block. we attempt a certain piece of code, and if some kind of runtime error happens, we can catch that error and we do the following when this error occurs really. After that, I'm going to show you a way to really throw an exception object. What does it mean by that? Let me show you an example to do the illustration more clearly. Okay, what does it mean by the throwing of an object, which is an exception object? Let us see. So I want to do a division. The division involves two values. One is called the dividend, the other one is called the divisor. And in JavaScript, when we divide something by 0, we would return infinity. And if the divisor is 0, the division actually fails to work properly. That's why we can make some exception to really stop the program from going further when we do division by 0. In this way, we can make it to be an exception. So how can we do this? Well, we see that if the divisor is 0, I'm going to throw a new error whose content is called divisor is 0. So that means I'm trying to stop the program from going further if I really see a divisor being 0. So the meaning of throwing an exception is that, when such a problem occurs, I really throw an exception object using the throw new keyword. And this error is a typical error object. Okay. And the detail of the error is shown here. The divisor is 0. And of course, if the divisor is not equal to 0, I can really do the division quite safely. And after that, I can just show the quotient, which is the answer to the division. Okay. So if the divisor is 0, I cannot do this step. I would have division by 0, which is not making any sense. So if the divisor is really 0, I don't go to line 34. Instead, I go to the catch part. Because I have already thrown an error to the catch part, and the catch part is able to really handle the error. And the way to handle the error is like that. I want to show the alert window saying that I have got an error due to the divisor being 0. And also, I'm able to show more details about my error object. I can show the name, message, and the stack as well. So let us try to run this try catch block in which we throw an exception object. Save. Reload. So I enter the dividend, maybe 5. Maybe I want to divide 5 by 1. So the quotient is 5. Because the divisor is not 0, I can go further to line 34. I can do the calculation safely, and of course I can show the quotient safely. On the other hand, if the divisor is 0, we will have another thing to happen. Dividend is 3. Divisor is now 0. You can see that I don't go to line 34 because I don't want the division to happen when the divisor is 0. Instead, I go to the catch block, and the catch block is able to really catch the error object that I threw in the if part. Okay, and I can see that the alert window is shown up here. After that, I'm able to show the error name called error, which is this name, which means the general error object. After that, I can see that the message tells me that the divisor is 0, which means the message is contained in the parameter of the error object. And of course, I'm able to show the stack, which is line 32, column 15, which means here. Okay, so the error comes from this line, and I'm trying to throw an error object to the catch part. And this is the place where the exception occurs, because I really threw an error object to the catch part. Okay, so I'm trying to show you another technique of exception handling called rethrowing error objects. So what does it mean by rethrowing an error object? Actually, the current try-catch block can create an exception object, and we can let the outer try-catch block catch it. So it is a bit abstract, I know that. That's why I have an example to show you the way of implementing the rethrowing action. So now I have a function called do something. And the do something function is just showing an alert window saying do something. Okay. And I can spell the alert keyword incorrectly. So I can say ALER only instead of ALERT. And then what would happen if I really call the do something function? Actually, we will have error because the content of the function isn't really correct in syntax. So we will expect some error coming out. Let us see what would happen if we put the do something function in a nested try-catch block. We can have a certain idea like this. When I want to run the do something function, I can see whether we have some error coming out. If some error really happens, I can catch the error object, and the error object is called some error. And if the some error here is actually an instance of the reference error, we can throw the error out. We can throw the error to the outer catch block, saying that the error is caught at the outer block. So we see that we run a function, and if some error happens, and the error is also an instance of the reference error, I can really throw an error object to the outer try-catch block. So let us demonstrate this example here. Save. Reload. Yes, you can see that error is caught at the outer block because I couldn't spell the keyword alert correctly. So the do something function fails to do the task of showing the alert window saying do something. Okay, so the error is caught here, and the error is an instance of reference error. So I'm able to throw the error object called some error to the outer catch block. Okay, we can have another situation to demonstrate the rethrowing of an object. Suppose now I can spell the alert keyword correctly, but now my function call fails to spell the function name correctly. So I can just remove the final G from the do something function name. Okay. What will happen is that we will still have the runtime error coming out. So we will still catch that error, and we can check whether the error is an instance of the reference error. If that's the case, I can still throw that error object to the outer catch block. And in this case, I'm able to show the alert window. Save. Reload. Yes, you can see that the alert window has come out, saying that the error is caught at the outer block. That means the failure of the function call is caught. And after catching that error, we can check that whether it is an instance of the reference error. If that's the case, we can throw the error object to the outer catch block. So we have two situations to do the rethrowing of the error objects. One is the mistake in my function content. The other is the mistake in my function call by spelling the function name incorrectly. Okay. Okay, the final part of the video is to mention the try-catch finally block. The idea of using the try-catch finally block is that we can show the code that is executed whether or not the error object is caught. So we could see that if the error is caught, we do something else. But what about if the error doesn't happen? What would we do? We can have some default code to include in our finally block so that we can still do whatever we want without being stopped by the catch block. So let us see an example. So now I have a try-catch finally block. The meaning is like that. I want to input a number, And if the number is 0, I would say you entered 0. Otherwise, I want to do something, but the do something function here is not existent. The previous do something function is already commented out. So this do something function call would be calling an undefined function. So it is possible that I would have some kind of error coming out due to the function call of an undefined function. And after that, we will expect the alert window saying that the try part fails would come out. And if the else part doesn't really execute, our program will still show the finally block. So we can see that, whether or not we can catch the error, we will still go to the finally block to do the rest of our program, which will not be affected by the result of our runtime error. So let us see the result. Save. Reload. I input 4 maybe. So when I input 4, I would try to go to the do something part here. And you can expect that, this function doesn't exist. So I'm able to get an error object to be caught by the catch block. Yes, you can see that the try part fails because when the value is 4, I'm not able to go to the alert window saying that I entered 0. Instead, I will go to the else part to call the do something function, which is not existent. That's why I will have an error coming out to be caught by the catch block. And after the catch block, I'm able to show the content in the finally block. This is the final part, coming from the finally part. Okay? So this is the situation when I really catch an error. So what will happen if the value is not 0? Let me see. I enter 0. Then you can see that I really entered 0 and I'm able to stay in the if part. And of course, I won't go to the else part. That's why the do something function will not be called. So I'm not able to generate an error object to be caught by the catch block. So you will expect that the try part fails won't be shown up. And what would happen next? We will still show the finally part content, even though I'm not able to go to the catch part. Yes, you see that the final part is shown here. So whether or not I go to the catch part, I will still show the content in the finally block. That's why we can continue with what we want to do, whether or not the runtime error occurs. So this video has already talked about so many ways to handle exceptions. The first one is the ordinary try-catch block. The second way is to really throw an exception object, which will be handled by the catch part. And also we can rethrow an error object so that the outer try-catch block is able to catch it. And of course we can also use the try-catch finally block to handle exceptions so that the remaining parts of the program can still continue whether or not we can catch the runtime error. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions about my video, please leave your questions on the comment section below the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.